So is the 4-day work week something that could be a reality in South Africa? The 4-day week global organization, which has initiated the concept in New Zealand, the United Kingdom and the United States, has launched its pilot project Home to see how businesses and employees could respond to the reality of 1 day less of work. Labour experts and futurists have argued that the COVID-19 pandemic has proven just how businesses can function better when employees work remotely. However, African Tikkun Services believes the additional day should be used as an opportunity to create additional jobs for youth unemployment. We speak to the CEO of Africa Tikkun, and that is Onyi Nwaneri. Thank you very much, Onyi, for joining us. So, the organization is of the belief that for those who then rest on the 4th day, the 5th day should be an opportunity for those who actually do not have employment to plug in.
Absolutely, and thank you again for having me, and thank you to your listeners. We are sitting in a country where unemployment is quite high. Unemployment is sitting at close to 70%, 66.5% for young people. We believe that if there is an interest to look at a 4-day week, which is a good idea, perhaps the 1 extra day could be used to create additional employment for young people in the country and to help solve the unemployment crisis we have.
Sure. How would it possibly work?
So the idea of a 4-day week is that people are able to work 100% of their expected output within 4 days. And as long as that's done, then the 5th day becomes a day of no work, and they still get paid for the same amount of money for working 4 days. And the idea is to use that 5th day to invest in family matters and perhaps, look at things that the employee would like to do on the 5th day. A lot of research that has been done outside of South Africa has shown that it enables productivity, it enables a much happier employee rate. It doesn't work for every company, I must say. Different companies have different ways that it should work, and we're going to test it in South Africa now to see. Our request is, and perhaps against the background of a huge unemployment crisis in the country, is to possibly look at a trade-off between the employer and the employee. I would hope that a lot of employees would be very satisfied with being a person that creates an additional job. So perhaps a trade-off where the employer and employee gives that 1 day off in terms of the 5-day week, and then look at using that 1 day to create an additional job, possibly an intern job or a junior entry job, or potentially an hour-based job that based on the company's need, that will then be used, perhaps, possibly, from the salary of that employee who is giving up 1 day, to then invest in a job for someone who is currently unemployed in the country. And so there is already people are giving money to charity. And instead of giving money to charity, let's use that money in form of an extra 1 day to give people dignity of work, to be able to go to work in that extra 1 day, at least 4 days a month, and be able to earn a living wage or at least a reasonable income within that period.
You speak of rolling it out in South Africa. How will that be done? In phases? How do you then choose the companies that you'll be in collaboration with?
And in terms of the rolling out, we're not the company rolling it out. There's a company called Singularity that is looking at rolling it out and is currently engaging with different organizations. And I think it's a test. It's a test to see if productivity levels, innovation levels will go up if people work 4 days a week and still achieve 100%. The key is really about output and outcomes. What does the company want to achieve, and what are the results we are looking to achieve? And to look at how do we incentivize people to achieve output and outcome. If they can achieve it in 4 days, why work 5 days? And the second rationale behind it is also around ensuring that you have a buffer, that people are not working always 100% of capacity, that there's always spare capacity so that people can always push beyond capacity and come back. And it's a simple concept from an operational point of view. From a South African point of view, I think that companies are engaged, and it's a trial at this point to test productivity. The question is, we're not sure if it's going to work, but we know South Africa is currently a country struggling with productivity on every level. Productivity is down year on year compared to growth rate in the country. And so it's a test. Whether or not the companies that will trial it out will show productivity in South Africa is a completely different conversation. But in other countries in the world, it has shown that it has created happier employees, and therefore it has also increased productivity and innovation.
Why is productivity down in South Africa?
Productivity is down due to a myriad of issues. The myriad of issues could relate to how we approach work. If I look at it in terms of, as Africa Tikkun Services, a lot of young people or people in general, there is a whole conversation around employability. That people are not employable in the first instance to then look at, productivity. So employability means that you understand the value you create in a company, and that the value you create in the company enables the company to grow. Productivity then relates to how much of an effort and investment of your time and energy in order to achieve the related outputs. And the problem is, right now, we're not seeing the amount of effort and time or activity invested relating to the output and outcomes that companies want. So there is less investment of time and effort in terms of employee time and employee investment and employee activity and value created. And so the question is, how do you solve that? And there are, like I said, there are many reasons. It could be employability, it could be morale, it could be engagement, it could be mental health issues, health-related issues that also costed. COVID-19 as a health pandemic is also a challenge in terms of productivity. But bottom line, it's really about how much the country's population, the employee-based productive workforce, the amount of activity that they are investing that relates to the outputs and outcomes that you want to achieve at micro and macro level.
Thank you very much for availing yourself this morning. Onyi Nwaneri is the CEO of Africa Tikkun Services.